let's run this for Tuesday, the second trading day of the week. It's the 23rd of April. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the show. This is your Frontier Opening Bell. Just a quick run through some of the markets we cover on a daily basis. The Nigerian market started a bit positive on Monday, about 13 basis points, about 70 billion naira added to the total market value as investors begin to price banking stocks different one from the other. We got a couple of gains on the banking stocks yesterday. Stanbic IBTC was down. Access Core was down more than 1% on the day. GITCO took the biggest chunk of the trading day in the banking sector. That sector was up roughly 2% on Monday to start the new week. We're counting down to April 30, the deadline for all the banks in Nigeria to submit their recapitalization agenda to the financial regulator. In Cote d'Ivoire, the BRVM, French-speaking West African exchange for 8 speaking countries in West Africa in French, down 0.2%. The Egyptian stock market, a clubber, just dipped below, went down 1.67%. On Monday, the market in Cairo was positive strongly on Monday. The rest of the region and the rest of the world reopened on Monday, and the Egyptian market tanked by 1.7% roughly. The NSE in Nairobi was down by roughly 0.25%, while the Johannesburg Stock Exchange was up 0.26%, 73,551 on the composite index. Those are the numbers across some of the markets we cover for you on the daily basis. A flattish Monday at the Ghana stock market, by the way. The Rwanda stock market saw about 4 basis points in the green territory, around 147 for the all-share index. Let's take that down. Look at the top stories in East Africa as we step in deeper into the current full market week, as it were. KCB, which is one of the biggest commercial banking services group in Kenya, says he's putting his funds behind Bentiu Oil Refinery in South Sudan to start producing about 10,000 barrels of oil per day. In Kenya, tea auctions down 2 billion shillings because despite the price calls that the Kenyan and the farmers and others placed on the table. The dollar rally is driving the shillings to a 5-day weekly streak. The shilling was trading yesterday about 134. Let's look at Rwanda proposing 6 new critical changes to minerals tax law to get the country deep into the world of mineral resource extractive business. And Ethiopia is looking at about $2.4 billion to revamp or to replace the Addis Ababa National Airport. It's going to be one of the most ambitious projects for this big economy, Horn of Africa, after the Renaissance Dam, which is causing a bit of upset between Ethiopia, Egypt, and Sudan, and a few of its neighbors. But now this is a very big one, as Ethiopia looks to have this new airport, which will include not just the airport, but will include tourist attractions, hotel, leisure, hospitality, and a few other things there that will make it a major hub for passengers and anyone who's passing through. Should folks all the best. Let's move on to touch on West African stories as we move into the day. Of course, you know, Nigeria's banking sector, banks are tiptoeing now towards the deadline of April 38th to submit their recapitalization program to the central bank. The Dangote refinery is still there. It's looking to pump petrol in the fourth quarter and not in the month of May as earlier forecast. In the meantime, Nigeria says, finance minister says the country is getting about $2.5 billion or $2.25 billion in loan, concessionary loan of about 1% or less from the World Bank. In the meantime, the World Bank is warning the country to keep an eye on its tax revenue, among the lowest on the African continent. In the Niger Republic, China is helping the country with about $400 million to pay for its oil imports in advance. And that's coming through the handshake with Beijing. When Niger Republic is coming after its recent military removal of the president-elect and his civilian administration in the country, in West Africa, and now looking to embrace other economic powers such as China, turning its back on the West in the manner of speaking. Ghana is looking to invest $60 million in the cashew exports. That's about to put some beneficiation behind cashew without just exporting the raw material abroad. So Ghana wants to ramp up on that as well. The Gambia in West Africa is looking at about $66 million electricity project, which will benefit more than 200 communities within the small West African nation, of course, a major hub for tourism in West African region. You've been briefed. Let's move on to Southern Africa and just tap into a few headlines as we look at the second trading day of the week. South African Airways is looking to get some minority shareholders or investors on board and again approach the capital market for rapid expansion because the initial deal had faltered. Remember, South African Airways is also in bed with Kenya Airways looking to set up a Pan-African single airline. The IMF is looking at South Africa's economy to grow just about 0.9%, roughly 1% in the current year, while Canada, Recon Africa is looking to deal well in Namibia. Namibia is hosting a crucial 3-day conference which will be ending in the next 2 days. It's been well attended by some of the biggest names on the African continent, including the African Energy Chamber, which is the continent's leading advocacy organization for energy poverty removal in Africa. And Mauritius businesses and financial markets were closed yesterday because of a heavy rainstorm, as it were, on the island of the Indian Ocean. There were rains and flooding and all of that. We'll see whether the markets will be reopening today. The stock exchange in Mauritius was also closed on Monday. In the meantime, International Holding Company of Dubai is bidding for a lion's share of Konkola mines in Zambia after doing an initial takeover within the country. Is looking now bidding for this an unsolicited bid for the biggest share of the Konkola copper mines in Zambia. Let's have those headlines in mind as we touch on North Africa. And again, of course, you've got quite a couple of ground to cover with tourism. Egypt says it's welcoming about 3,400 GA Ramses II old statue back from Switzerland. It was stolen from Egypt years and years ago. Now, Egypt says it's welcoming that major iconic statue of Ramses II back into Egypt. It's going to raise the game, as it were, for Egypt's tourism industry. And the Telecom Capital has secured about $154 million from the European Investment Bank, the Visa, as well as Allianz to expand into Egypt. And this is one big capital frontiers for telecom.com. And Spanish government is investing about 500,000 euros to help family medicine in Morocco, while the Royal Air Maroc is looking to quadruple its fleet by the year 2030. Those are your headlines this Tuesday. Let's keep it there here on Frontier Opening Bell. I am Wilson Nomofa. Have a great day, everyone. And I'll be back soon on the show.